So there might have been times where you clicked your photos and you look really good in them, but the photo doesn't look really good. Well, there's nothing to worry about because I have a solution for it. Lighting is very important for photos and for videos. Just for instance, right now, I'm sitting in front of the balcony just for the best lighting. So in this video, I'm not going to explain my complete editing process because this video is not about that. It's about how I edit my photos to make it look better, to make it look till its fullest potential. Now, a while back, I had taken this photo, but then this photo didn't look really that good. So what I tried to do, I tried to use only this one application to make this photo look like its best. I had taken this photo during the golden hour, but then it doesn't even look any close to the golden hour. So how do I edit my photos to make it look like it's been taken in the golden hour? Now you might have heard about this application, but then today I'm going to tell you how to use this application till its fullest potential and in the best way. So the first thing you need to do is you go to your app store or play store or whatever is it and download VSCO. Download VSCO or VSCO or whatever you want to call it. Just download that application. Now once you have downloaded VSCO onto your phone, you want to open that application and then you want to open the photo that you want to edit. This is the photo that I want to edit. Now as you can see, there's a flare going across through the photo that shows it's the golden hour, but then the photo doesn't even look anywhere close to it because maybe of the ISO, maybe I didn't even focus on what exposure it was set on. So the first mistake that people make in this application is that when they just open it, they see a bunch of filters through it and they just apply one filter, slap on, and they increase the exposure and that's it, they save the photo. That's not the way in which you edit your photos. The first thing that you need to do is you need to open the second tab, which gives you all these small settings in which you can tweak your photo. So the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to increase the exposure. Now what happens in the exposure, this is a very basic term for brightness in photo editing. Now normally when you take photos in a dark environment, make sure not to increase the exposure too much as the photo just gets spoiled, it just becomes too noisy. But in this case I have taken it in a decent amount of sunlight so I can increase the exposure. Let's take it to 5. Okay. Now what happens is that this photo has become much more brighter than what it was previously, but then it's too faded. I don't want the image to be very faded. I want it to be rich in the colors. So the next thing is contrast, a very basic term that all of us know. It provides more depth to the colors in the photo. So you're going to increase it and let's keep it about 2.5. I don't want to increase the contrast too much because the photo just becomes too oversaturated, I would say. Even if you don't use saturation, if you use contrast and if you put the contrast too much all the way up to the maximum, it's just going to spoil the photo and just going to make it oversaturated. Now we're going to jump on to the next thing. I'm not going to straighten the photo, I'm not going to crop it, I'm not going to do XQ, YSQ. I'm going to sharpen the photo just a little bit, maybe around a 1.7. okay, let's leave it to 1.7. and now saturation. What I'm going to do with the saturation is that I'm not going to pull it all the way up. I don't want the photo to be yellow while I want to show the golden hour. Is that I'm going to reduce the saturation. I'm going to get this a little less saturated while a mixture of both of it, and the photo starts looking much better than what it was before, but this is nowhere close to what the final result is. Now after saturation we have highlights. You can play with the highlights if you want, but the highlights usually make a difference only in few photos. I'm not going to play with the highlights in this one. What happens in shadows is that if you increase the shadows, the depth of your dark colors reduce. So as in this, my black shirt which I'm wearing is just becoming, I don't want to play with the shadows thing. So if you want, it depends on the photo and depends on the look that you're going for. Now what I'm going to do with the temperature is that I'm not going to increase the temperature. If I increase the temperature in the photos, it's going to look more of yellow. I'm going to reduce it a bit to minus 0.3. And then you have your skin tones. If you want to play with the skin tones, you want to make it look more purple, or you want to make it look more green, you can do anyhow. But then I don't want to play with that right now. Then there's tint. You want to make it look more green, you want to make it look more purple. In this case, for the golden hour look, you don't have to touch it. If you increase the vignetting, it's just going to create a black border kind of look, and it's going to create this intense drama look. It doesn't go along with every single photo. You have to make sure, like, you know, which looks good. This is a very old thing of vignetting each and every photo. Now it's kind of old, it's kind of boring, so I'm not going to touch vignetting as well. Then you have fade. Fade is again going to lose all the colors of the photo and going to make it more plain. I don't want that to happen. We have grain as well. Grain is just going to make the photo look more like a kind of old look, or people use that for some kind of photos that gives maybe like a retro vibe or something, but I'm not going to touch that as well. We have shadow tint. You can select any color. For this case, even if you select orange or yellow, it's not going to suit the look that we're going for. Now remember, the first thing that I told you is that people go on, they slap on a filter and they increase the exposure and contrast, and that's it, they save the photo. The first thing that you need to do is you need to adjust the photo according to whatever you feel like it might look better in. So for the golden hour look, I tried to set up everything. I had increased the exposure because the photo is very dull. I had increased the contrast so that the colors become more richer. I had increased the sharpness so that there's more crispiness in the photo. And then I reduced the saturation because I don't want too much yellow in it. I'll tell you why. I didn't touch the highlights, I didn't touch the shadows. I reduced the temperature a bit just to give it a more blue look. Now the final tip to get the golden hour look is you go on to filters and you use the third filter that says A6. So what happens when you slap on the A6? You get a completely different kind of a vibe in the photo. With this A6 filter, you get a more yellowish, a golden kind of a touch to your photos. So once I've applied this filter, you can even change the density of this filter. Maybe if you want it to be to the maximum, you can leave it to the maximum. Right now I'm going to leave it on the maximum, and then now I'm going to jump back onto my adjustments because I'm going to change some things, and that's maybe I'll change the exposure a little bit. I was at a 5 and I want to drop down a bit. The contrast as well, I'm going to increase the contrast. You can see this was the before and this is the after. There's a huge amount of change in it. I can increase the contrast to create a more dramatic look, or I can reduce the contrast. Sharpening, I guess I'll leave it till there. Saturation as well. Saturation, if I want a more bright look, a more colorful look, I'm going to increase the saturation, but I don't want that a lot. Let me just keep it till here somewhere. Yeah, a 0.3 plus 0.3. Now let me see the temperature. If I want, I can drop down the temperature. That gives a more bluish kind of a look. Or if I want, I can increase the temperature. That gives me a proper golden hour look. If I want, I can reduce the temperature and create a more cold kind of a look. Or if you want to crack the golden hour look, you can just swipe up on the temperature, but don't just swipe all the way up because it's going to spoil the photo. So you're going to keep a moderate amount of it. Let's go ahead with this. That's it. Then you save the photo, and that's how you get the final look. This was the photo. This is the after photo, the before and after. It's pretty insane how these small tweaks can change your photo completely. That if you want me to make a video on a complete editing guide of how I edit my own photos and how I create a feed and stuff, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Only if you like this video you can leave a big thumbs up, otherwise it's okay. I'm sorry if I didn't make the video up till your expectations. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and families so that you can also help them with all these tips. I'm feeling very thirsty right now, so I'm gonna drink some water. So yeah, stay kind, stay polite, stay humble, and stay golden.
Bad things, it's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they